there was a man without a plan. He met a lady and asked for her hand. So then, there was a man, a lady, and an unknown road to share. They started a journey and stories for future years. Yeah, there was a man and a lady who now shaped a plan, walking that journey incomplete, with actions, their words to speak. And soon that journey finally settled in a land. Indeed came a family from the woman and the man. Homie with the flow is life in the sun. Yep, it has a meaning, said a ton. It's hard times gotta face together until that swim low gets better. I see land for miles, children work the field. Eddie Avenue, got the plow. The food mom put on your plate, you better say your grace and be thankful it was given. Dirt roads we stroll, later drove. Livestock was sold, money up. No clothes, the Lord's hand me down. Raindrop, it pours, crops crown. What mom and pop says, that's how it be. Dare talk back, check the cheek. Papa, please means nothing, aight? Discipline is all, save your life, you might. Papa work the wise, see where things are headed. Kneel down, pray, then invest. Survival tastes the fit, like butter down grits. While hunger never quit, fam legit.
Family. In this day and age, the concept of the word can be lost in the societal cloud of multiplicity. However, there is no denying the word's common definition. It would be difficult to pinpoint the exact origin of where our family began. Yet, it would be safe to state our generational building blocks didn't start in a place where American symbolism stands. Neither did it start in these types of woods. It didn't start in a large city such as this, but rather in a small town like this, yet smaller, called
Tylertown.
Walthall County, Tylertown, Mississippi.
Geographically resting in South Mississippi, Tylertown was first known as McGee Settlement by immigrants of the McGee and Thornhill families from South Carolina. In 1816, the first tract of land was acquired after Native Americans were pushed out of the area. That's right, Indians. But of course, you knew that. Big spender Cullen Collernick showed up on the scene and bought out Garland Hart's store and established a post office called Connerly's Post Office. The town bore the name Connerly, and later it was renamed Tylertown. And from that point, it wasn't long before a different shade of folks started marking their territory, and the bloodlines were identified.
Eugene Lenore. That's what my daddy's father was named, Eugene.
And his wife?
All I know, Emma Lenore. I don't know her maiden name. My dad's mom, Emma Lenore, she was a little, well, I know she was a Christian lady. Mm-hmm. And she would come visit us from time to time, but she more or less, she kind of stayed away, you know, and I don't know for what reason, but she would just when she would come, she would just sit and she would pray, you know, before she leave, and she just stayed more spiritual like and kind of to herself. Mama Emma, she was Pentecostal, and she was such a fanatic that if she came to the house and we had the TV on, she would not come in. She didn't believe in TV. She just thought it was something wrong if you were watching TV. She just thought that was not being religious. But she was a sweet lady.
I don't remember Grandpa Gene that much because I was small when Grandpa Gene, I was small. I only knew a little bit about Grandpa Gene because of what my mom and dad had told me about him. But I don't think I remember him that much as well as I did Grandpa Les because I wasn't around him. But I used to hear Mama said he was a real mean guy. He always carried a gun on him, you know. And but my grandma Emma, she was one of the sweetest women that you would want to be around. You never saw her unless she had her head covered. She wore black all the time. If she would come over to visit us, she would take, and if the TV was on or radio, she would tell my dad, son, Mama ain't coming in until you cut this radio off. I don't want to hear all that.
Now that was the paternal side. What about the maternal?
Grandpa Les was my mom's father, and he was very sweet. He was very spiritual. Every time there were a storm or a dark cloud made up, we thought if we would make it to Papa Les, we were going to be safe. Because when a dark cloud would come up, he would always have the Bible on his knee. So we thought if we would all gather around him, he was really our safety zone, we thought.
Les Gatlin was saved from every time I remember him, Grandpa Les. Whenever bad weather would come, we would gather around him, all 11 of us, plus all the Lucid children. We gathered around him because he was a praying man. As you see on his picture, the Bible is laying on his lap. We would love to hear Grandpa Les pray. At night, all of us lived in one little bungalow, one house, about 22 people. And he would pray when time to go to bed. Everybody was just so quiet because that man could pray. We heard about God, but we didn't really know who he was. We wasn't saved then. You could feel his prayer. He prayed that he would pray till he would be raining wet for us. And we didn't understand it then, but how well do I understand it now? He prayed for even you all, his grandchildren, his great-grandchildren, his children that had never been born. He was that type of man.
Grandma Hattie she was okay, but she had her flaws. And the flaw was if we did wrong, she didn't hold us up in our wrongness. She would whoop us and make us, behave ourselves. And she had favoritism, between Aunt Clara May girls and us, She would go, Aunt Dora May would go out to work in different white people's houses. And when she would come in, Aunt Dora May would take the stuff that the people would give her and take it and give it to Grandma Hattie would take and give it to Aunt Clara May too. But we didn't let that bother us because we knew that Mama was going to provide for us.
Okay, enough about the great-grandparents. How did your parents meet?
My dad's dad introduced him. I never really asked, but they did talk about someone they dated. My mom said my dad was tall and good looking. He had a beautiful set of teeth when he laughed, and he was a hard-working young man.
So they met cutting greens up at Metro Russia. They used to cut greens. And Dad and Mama met Cutting Green. It was on the fall.
That I don't know. All I know they got married. I don't know how they met. I guess he was glad. Like he give away. Cause back in those days, you had to ask for the girl's father's hand.
And how old were they when they first got married?
I think my mom was 18 or 19, and my dad was in his 20s.
In our minds, it may be ideal for a man and woman to meet at a young age, grow old together, and live good until the living is no more. However, it wasn't uncommon for the older to marry the young and start a family. You would only hope to have more good days than bad days, and a few smiles in between. The seasons have now changed. Time has now advanced. We're hearing the joy of family has taught patience. Even in small structures like this, it's in these times we learn what family really means. But it's only for a time.
Didn't have no address. It was just Mesa Mount Olive Road.
It's the place where the family began. The normal trend, when husband and wife initiates that plan where another would carry on the family's name. And another. And then a handful. Before you knew it, the plan began to multiply at a rapid pace.
My oldest brother was Leslie Lenoir Jr., and we called him Dune. The next one was Eugene Lenoir, and we called, his nickname was Gabby. The next one was Verlene Lenoir, and her nickname was Muffy.
I was a big baby with big jaws, and they just started calling me Muffy, from Muffy Jaws.
The next one was Dixie Lenoir, and her name was Coot, nickname. The next one was Jerome Lenoir. His nickname was Squat. Then there were Ida Lenoir. Her nickname was Hump. There was Rosetta Lenoir. Her nickname was either Poor or Flea, but she had two nicknames.
My daddy, Poker Lenoir.
What was the nickname?
Flea.
Where the name Poor come from?
I was the skinniest of all, so my mama gave start calling me Poor.
The next one were Dorothy Lenoir. Her nickname was Sarah.
Sarah.
Now, spell that for me? We just say it. We don't know how it's spelled, huh?
No. Well, they really say Sarah.
Yeah. But it's Sarah?
Sarah.
Okay.
Then Solomon Lenoir. His nickname was Doug.
Idella Lenoir, we call her Chia.
Please tell me where the nickname Chill came from.
My brother, Eugene Lenoir.
Why did he call you Chill?
Because he said I always complained I was cold all the time. Donis Lenoir. Her nickname was Al.
Tell me about who gave you that nickname?
I have no idea where it came from, but they all call me Al.
Why they call her Al?
This Chia called her Al. I don't know why it's called Al.
And that's it.
Where did these nicknames come from?
I have no idea. I just know where my nickname came from. But
All
if
right.
you grew up in the country, you got a nickname.
Yep. Nicknames are personalized terms of endearment, perhaps based on facial features or crazy behavior. Crybaby can easily be summed up in one word, but so can a radiant smile of a young fellow. It's the beauty in being identified with the nom de guerre.
Junior come up, he didn't have much to say, but he had a temper. He had a temper.
What you mean by that?
He was fight. He was fight. If you bother with him. But if you didn't bother with him, he was okay.
So you say he would fight. Who'd he fight?
Anybody that messed with him.
Dune and Gabby, they did the hunting. I was a little bitty, but Mama kept rabbits and squirrels and all of that wildlife. They would go hunting, and they would bring all that stuff back, and we had plenty rabbits and squirrels. We ate that stuff along with the stuff Daddy raised.
I would describe my oldest brother as a hard worker, didn't have really no education, but he had so much common sense. There was not one thing he could not fix, from a stove to piping houses to fixing refrigerators. Whatever needed to be done, he could do it, and he had no education.
Gabby, me and him was good friends, but we fought a lot when we was coming up. We'd get into it over marbles.
My brother Eugene was just like Leslie. He had no education. My dad worked for Percy McGee, and they both got jobs downtown for Percy McGee, and they did all of his putting in electrical parts, from refrigerator to stoves to piping houses, and they just knew how to do it with no education. And they could even measure stuff with no education.
How were you, as a kid?
I was always on the quiet side. Didn't say much unless you said something to me. I was very quiet.
Murphy was our second mama. That's who combed our hair. That's who made sure I went to school. Now, all of my children didn't go to school. They didn't like school. I loved the school. So Murphy would make sure I got to school.
My sister Murphy, she took care of me. She took care of my hair. I had beautiful hair, and I didn't let nobody else touch it but her. She mainly was, my second mom. And when she got married, I said, I'm gonna do it myself. And I get to straighten the comb, and I would just start, and then it would be too hot, and just scorch it out, big old handful. But come out and I would cry.
Right to the day when I got problems, I called my sister. And I know my sister not God. I know she can't, only she could do for me is pray. But I have always, my sister Dorothy, I thank God for her. I thank God for my sister Ida, Idella. I thank God for my sister Rose. I thank God for all my sisters. Because we have never had no disagreement over nothing. We all were away. Mama used to tell them when we were coming up together, we were all, about all of us slept in one bed. That's how close we were. And I thank God for her. But my oldest sister, it just was something about her. And I thank God. She was something like my mom.
Come next to me.
Okay, how was she?
She was all right.
Was she a fighter too?
I mean, if you would make a man, you know, step on her toes. All children, you know, back there, they had their little spats and they would fight, and we would just love one another afterward. You know, we didn't hold against each other.
Mm-hmm.
My sister Dixie was one of the harder workers. She enjoyed working in the field from sun up to sundown, and she was such a sweet person, and she kind of helped Mama around the house doing stuff, canning, washing, and all that kind of stuff. And she kind of helped, my mom took care of us, because she was one of the oldest. Jerome was one of the kind of laid back one. He didn't do any of that. He worked in the field a lot, and then he kind of worked with them a little bit, but not a lot.
Scared, he was there at the house. He was the youngest one of so he kind of was the last one to leave, you know, and was there to me sung in the Pig and Cucumber, and Bumblebee would start humming, and it would finna get hot, and man, and scared them be singing, they be singing, you know. And I said, I don't want to sing no more. I want to go to that house. It's hot out here. And he said, you better get your so-and-so on down there and picked up it. So he would just want to be the daddy, you know, and the boss of us. And but he did what he's supposed to do, because he know daddy was going to get him.
I didn't know very much about Hump, because when I grew up, Hump was kind of way down the line, older than me. So she was there probably about 5 or 6 years after maybe about 10 years.
Rose always was a kind of get over. She didn't like to do nothing. She liked to have it her way. And when she got big enough, she liked to go to Tylertown.
So all the kids always thought she was a get over?
She was. And when you talk to the rest, they'll tell you the same thing.
Rose was one of the very difficult ones. She did crazy stuff. She was one of my daddy's favorites, so he let her get by with a lot.
And Daddy would tell us if we would, whoever picked the most cotton, had it in their sack, in the run of a day, they would get a $7. And I would get it every time, because Paul was lazy. And I called her Flabby Sack. And she wanted to hit me upside the head. And she would have all day long. That sack would never be stuffed full of cotton. It'd be flabby. And that's what I call a Flabby Sack. So I got the $4 every time. Dorothy?
How was she?
She was all right. She was all right. You know, I got married before they really grown up.
Oh, so she was some years
She
behind?
was some of them.
Your brother Doug?
My brother Doug was the handicapped one, so he didn't do very much at all. My mom and all of us spoiled him, because he was the one that was a little bit handicapped, so he didn't do any work at all.
Jill was all right. Jill was always all right. She didn't. That's why I said I wasn't around them when they really grew up. I know when they was little, 3 and 4 and 5 years old. But you see, I got married and I left. And, you know, I wasn't around them till they grew up grown.
Donis was the baby. She got away with everything. She didn't work very much in the field and stuff, but she and I got along good. She and I was, we grew up together at the house my daddy built.
The first house we lived in, his mom and dad was a couple that I can remember. It was on Bill Deer's place, a white man named Bill Deer. And my daddy was farming on his land.
And my daddy lived in his house. But his land was so hilly that it couldn't make anything that much there. So my grandfather asked him to move in the house with him, come live with him, because his health was getting bad. And that's when we moved in that big house off of 98 on Mesa Road. And so we moved in with my grandmother and my grandfather to help farm his land, help farm here with ours. We worked his crop along with ours because his health was failing him. And my daddy just moved in the house with him and worked his crop.
The house we called the big house was a house that we all grew up in. It was my Paulette and my grandmother Hattie house, but we all grew up in it. It had probably like 5 or 6 rooms, and we all grew up in that house, and there were not a lot of space for everybody, but we would like double up in beds and sleep wherever we could, but we were all happy. It didn't matter about the space.
Because from what I've been told, there wasn't any room for selfishness, for the me, myself, and I. The framework of values were being constructed. Nope, it wasn't easy, but necessary for future plans. The funny thing is, sometimes the bad has to push us toward the good.
And Claire May, husband, he would drink a lot. I don't know if your mama told you this. He would drink a lot. This is at the big house. And we all stayed there together. And he came home 4 days one morning, just cussing and fussing and woke us all up, and it aggravated my dad. And my dad had took his gun and he snapped it 3 times in his face. And my grandfather said, "Oh, Audrey, no." And he grabbed Daddy. And if that gun it must have won his time. Because if it had went off, he would have shot his brains out. And my grandfather, he said, this is just, terrible. And my dad said, well, I got to do something to get my family out of here. And that's when he started to making way of buying that property to build a house where they lived until they died. With some years, I don't know, about 20 or 30 years, he stayed there. And when we began to grow up, my oldest brother told my dad he was finna get married. And so when he told my dad he was finna get married, we told my dad to plant all the cotton that he could plant. Because we didn't want him to go off and get married and leave him there on that white man's place. So my dad had planted acres and acres of cotton and corn and cucumbers and string beans and whatever he could get some money off.
So
to sell, he done it.
So Junior was the one, like, he was looking out for him, trying to get it done before.
Yes. Because when Junior got married, then I got married after Junior. And then it just kept going on down.
And so, they grew corn and cucumbers, sold eggs and string beans. They planted and picked cotton, that Southern gold, an American demand. And because it was in demand, thankfully, they were able to produce acres and acres of the resource. Yeah, I would say it worked out nicely.
The gin ticket, my dad was a farmer. He would do like 40 acres to 60 acres of cotton every year. So the gin ticket is when he had a bale of cotton, he took the cotton to the gin, they would weigh the cotton up, and then you would get a gin ticket for the amount of money the the bale of cotton brought. And cotton is real light. So so what you did, because cotton is so light, once you dumped it in the big wagon thing, we would have to get in the wagon and jump and pack it down so he could get more on that. And then when he got to the gin, it would weigh more, because if you got it packed down, you can add more cotton to it.
And how far was that from where y'all live?
Probably about 20 miles. This was used to weigh cotton on a scale. This determined the amount of cotton you had in the sack on the scale. This was used to tighten up boats on a plow. My daddy used the plow and muse, and this was what you put on the pin and tighten up the boats on the plow.
It's amazing how a person can take skills of survival to create an opportunity of manifesting his or her own desires. With the help of his family, Oldra Lenore now prepared to buy land, to build his home, and have a place to call his own.
And after Junior said he was going to get married, and we didn't want to leave our daddy on the white man's place, so we told him to plan all he could get there with and buy him some land. And that's what he did. My daddy made about 30 or 40 bales of cotton that year. And he took the money and bought 60 acres of land from a man they called Milton Russian, a white man.
All this land from Milton, Russia, all the land together was $500. That's what it was. All that land, all this land was $500. And Milton Russian said he'd have never sold it to him if he thought he'd have been able to pay for it. He thought he would be able to take it back from him. But Dad and Mama, Daddy worked, and he saved that money, gave him 2 years to pay for it. Daddy gave him $100 now.
Okay, I know what you're thinking. And it probably makes you angry to have heard this man's intentions. However, it was a risk worth taking because it brought about this valued possession. Remember, this here is old time Mississippi. When race is involved, your words aren't always your bond.
When the crops didn't grow and all that, how were they able to make money? What other way you were able to make money?
My daddy would get out public working.
What is that?
He worked for the man. He was on their place, but the man run a company they called, and he would run pipes and things for gas heaters and gas stoves and things. And that's how he got out and made money.
My dad it would be so cold, and he would walk from over there in that house, right over there, all the way to Talenttown. Every morning it would be so cold. You could hear him when you go around the house because the earth would be so, walking. He had to be in Talenttown to make a fire for them white folk to come to work at Home Gas Company. And Daddy would leave the house at 4 in the morning and walk. That's 7 miles from here to town to make a fire for them white people.
It was the road he felt he had to travel. He made no excuses. It was the greater will to survive, even when having enough wasn't enough. The mindset was, more could be done. Salute to you, Grandpa Oldra. That value traveled beyond these roads. And some of us, it became a generational treasure.
So your mom and daddy wasn't no slave or nothing like that?
No. Mom and dad wasn't a slave. But my grandfather's mama was a slave.
Really?
Yeah.
So let me ask you this: during that time, when like you were coming up, like even as a child or a teenager or whatever, like how was it between blacks and whites in Tylertown?
Wasn't so good. The white would always put the black under them. They you know, you had to call them Mr. and Mrs., but they would call you by your name, and sometimes they'd use that N-word.
And so, I mean, you ever seen Grandpa or Grandma shamed by one?
No, because they always stayed in their place. They honored them.
How was it during the time you grew up? Was it horrible? Did you have horrible encounters with them and all?
I did, but Mama and Dad, they always try to keep me away from them. They wouldn't allow me to go in white folks' house to clean their house, or they know how I felt. She did it one time, and they had to go back. And I let all the chicken up in the house. And they had to go in and take all the children that had cleaned the house back up. So Mama and them know how I felt. I felt how they felt about us. So therefore she wouldn't let me go in. To clean the house. Mama and them never let me do that. They never would let me go on the tongue off farm. They never let me go to work for white people.
Why is that? Say it again. Why they won't let you?
Because I was gonna do the wrong thing. I was gonna do it right. Well, I know they wasn't paying me fair. Gonna leave me $2 for a day's work. They had to do more work than what I did. So Mama and them never did let me out. I never did go to work for white people.
So then after we would get through with our crop and it winter time come, we would go pick up tongue oils. They had a man that come around and pick up people 4 days in the morning and go to Folston down there in Louisiana somewhere and pick up tongue oils. And it would be so cold, the ice would never melt on the ground. And with the leaves in the tongue oil, you got to rake them back and pick up the tongue oil. That's what they made oil out of. And crawling on that ground, although I had on 2 pair of pants and 2 or 3 dresses. But anyway, I told her, you cracker, I'll roll you all over this here tongue off here. And then my auntie got scared. She thought that they were going to do something to us, you know, because I was talking back to her. I wasn't ever scared of no white people, and never was. I said, they've got to do it to me. You know, and I said, if you say anything to me, so I said, you're going to get this fear.
So let me ask you this. You had any white friends?
Oh, I had lots of white friends. I have never had problem with the white race of peoples. Never. Because, I mean, if they treated me right, I treat them right. Even on the job, I worked for a guy on Ross Jerry for 15 years in his home. I must have raised his children, and they was white. You know, after I got out of school. But I thank God I have never had, I'm not a racist person, because I believe, like I told the little boys, he had 3 boys, Brian, Eric, and Tommy. I would tell them, even though my skin may be dark, but your blood and my blood is red. You know, and we have nothing to do with the color we are. God made us that way. And they begin to accept that, you know. This is what Donnie said, long as you do us right, we'll do you right. I ain't never had no problem with no white people.
One time, the mules got out, and they went across that highway, and this was like in the daytime, I believe it was, and this white man, he was in a car, and he was behind me and my mama, and we went up under that barbed wire fence. Mama could run. Although she had age on her, but she could run. And if he would have caught us, he probably would have got us and carried us off and raped us and killed us. And we made it to Uncle Hill's house, way back in the woods. And he saw that we was going and saw that house, and he turned around and went back. And Uncle Hill came out. He had his gun, and but the man, he had done went got in his car and took on off. He come from out of state somewhere, but then it was just danger for us as women, girls.
It's not a secret in the state of Mississippi. One race was favored above all others. They would stand blind to the fact and not acknowledge that prejudices are wrong and allow hatred and violence to run rampant. And so, they removed the blindfold and replaced it with hoods as if it was the better alternative. Where is the law? Does it protect us? Does it make life better for us? Sure, for those who know it. And if you know too much, then you might not be around long. Equal rights for all? Ha! This here, Mississippi. Your best option? Just deal with it.
How old were you when your mom and dad started making you work? Like they knew you can handle it and you say, I'm bored. You gotta work.
10, 11 years old. I started babysitting when I was 5, 6 years old.
Because you knew enough to watch them.
Yes, I tended to them babies. I changed them or whatever they needed. Because my mama had to work in the field and she had to work and she didn't have a babysitter, so I was the oldest daughter, so I had to tend to the rest of them. I had to babysit my older sisters and brothers. And when mama didn't have a baby and I didn't have to stay at home, stay there and tend to a baby, yeah, I worked in the field. I scraped cotton, I picked cucumbers. Whatever needed to be done in the field, we done it.
So let me ask you this. Because you hear about people singing in the fields and stuff like that. Did y'all do that?
Yeah, we used to sing. We used to sing in the field. We used to talk about Sundays and how we did that Sunday. We just had a good time in the field. We made it a good time.
You remember any songs?
No, I don't remember none of the songs we sung, but we had us a quartet going. We were singing.
You say they used to sing. What would they sing?
Oh Lord, I don't remember the song, but Jerome thought he could sing. I just can't remember some of the songs now.
Did y'all sing while y'all were in the field? Would you sing with them when they were in the field?
We would sing when we was in the field, but when I remember singing, when it would rain and we couldn't pick cotton, or when it was cold and we sat by the fire and chewed sugar cane, and my mom would say, okay, let's all start singing. So my mom would start, and then we would all follow her, and she was a great tenor. She could really sing, so that's what I remember. But we also sang in the cotton field, but I don't remember any of the songs. When I was in the cotton field, I just prayed it rained. Because it was hot out there.
Like when they used to work out in the fields or whatever. You worked out in the fields?
I used to work. No, I ain't never did no hard work out in the field. I sure haven't. Daddy would have me toting water. I would bring water to them that was working in the field, and maybe whatever they wanted, Daddy would tell me to go get it and bring it to them. But I have never worked on. I pick cucumbers. I pick cucumbers in the field. We have pulled corn, but not like my other sisters and brother did.
They ever sing in the fields? You see them sing in the fields?
Yes, they used to go down the road chopping cotton, singing old songs, and...
Give me one.
I love the Lord, He heard my cry.
You won't sing it for me?
I can do you a small...
Don't give me a little piece. Don't give me a little piece.
I love the Lord, He heard my cry. Now I'm love
This is what a song can do. As time rolls, a rhythm flows in stride, even grabbing the attention of a gentle pair, making the worst part of the day bearable. Because you gotta do what you gotta do to survive.
How was Grandpa as far as discipline?
Daddy didn't do as much discipline as Mom. Daddy would just promise you he was going to whip you, but he never did. Mama, she would always tell us, now y'all asking for it, and you asking for it and I'm going to sell it to you. That means you're going to get a whooping. So Mama really was the discipline. She would do the whipping.
What about discipline? Your dad, Mama whooping. I mean, how did he discipline you guys?
Daddy did never whoop. Daddy would talk with his mouth.
What you mean by talk with your mouth?
He would use that bad language. He would curse you out, but he would never whoop you. And I always said I'd rather for him to whoop me. But Mama used that whip. She whipped us. She used that switch. But Daddy could just talk to me and I'd cry. I have never seen him whoop any of us.
Growing up, who punished? When you get in trouble or whatever, because I've got stories where you say Grandpa didn't whoop.
No, Daddy didn't whip us. No, he would tell Leela, you whoop that girl. Because he felt that a man shouldn't put you on. That's one thing Daddy have never whooped not one of us girl. Now, Doom, the oldest boy, he wanted to get such a man and cursed Daddy one time, and Daddy split his head off. That's the only time.
Why'd he do that?
Oh, he gonna come over there and tell Daddy how to run his life. Doom, mean too.
And them younger bunch, it might have been different.
What you mean, the younger bunch?
From Chill on back down. But I never have seen him whip anybody.
Any of them ever got in trouble, like with the law?
I think Junior one time. Junior did one time. But none of the rest of us, no.
Did you spend time in jail?
He spent overnight.
Now who got him out?
I don't know what's for. My daddy got him out.
They never let y'all know what he went in for.
He didn't never let me know.
So what about school? Like
School.
as far, what was the name of your school?
Gatlin School. We had school in our church, Mount Olive Missionary Baptist Church, and they would curtain it off in section, and that's where we had school.
One thing, when I started school, see, we didn't have school. We were going to school in the church. We had to go to school in the church. It's not even on record now. Those years that we went to Mount Olive school, we said Mount Olive Church school, it's not even on record. You can't find it nowhere on record. Because we didn't have school like St. Paul and Tylertown and something. We went to school in the church. We had 2 teachers that taught all grades.
I first attended school at St. Paul Historic Center, and we went from St. Paul to J.J. Gullis. And I stayed there until I got 11th grade. Daddy, we used to always tell us we had to work in the field. I'm going to get big head and drop out of school. Because I said I couldn't do my homework, come home and work in the field. But I thank God for the 11 years that I got. You know, I could have went on to finish. I could have maybe went on to college. It was me made that decision.
It was hard once I got into like probably middle school, because we had to do a lot of work in the field and do a lot of chores. But I always kind of patterned my school life after Rose, because I thought if she could finish high school, then I could too.
I didn't have to work in the field. I didn't like the field. Like I said, if they pick cotton, I weighed it. I stayed at the weighing and weighed it. I weighed the cotton. Daddy, I like to go to school, so Daddy would make sure that, like I said, they would make sure that I get to school.
Yeah, there were times I had to miss, and sometime when I got in high school, I think the most we could miss in school would be 20 days, and then you would fail. You couldn't miss over 20 days. And sometime I would be up to day 19, and my dad would let me go because I knew if I went over 20 that I would fail. So I was able to make it, complete my grades, and every year I did that till I finished high school. It was a challenge, but there's nothing that you can't do. I mean, there's just no excuses.
8th grade. I graduated from 8th grade. I didn't go no further.
You remember any of your teachers?
Yeah. I remember one of my teachers was named Leola Brister. And then I had a teacher named Miss Purleyvale. I don't remember her last name because we called her Miss Purleyvale.
How were they in school?
They was nice. They was good teachers. Everybody got new clothing, all the young people, what have you, and she said that she rather give to us and let us have, and she stayed home from church and bought clothes for us. And we didn't get but one pair of new shoes a year, one outfit a year. And she stayed home and took care of my handicapped brother. My mom would go to town at the closing of fall, when fall began to come in, after we gather all the crops. My dad would take my mama to town in a wagon, and she would buy material. She would buy the boys a set of clothes, and then she would buy us a set of underclothes, and she would buy material to make our top clothes. She would buy us one pair of shoes. And we went through that winter with that one pair of shoes.
With 11 children back in our time, it was hard. That was hard. But we shared with each other. Whatever one could wear my clothes, we wore them clothes. Whoever could wear, we share with one another. That's how we learned how to love. Mama and them made us, we shared with one another. We didn't say that you can't have this and you can't have that.
Religion. How was your mom and daddy as far as religion?
They belonged to the Baptist church. They was Baptists.
I think my brother Eugene refused, but he finally came around. My brother Jerome, they just thought we were kind of different and fanatic, but I think all of my brothers and sisters now are Christians.
So what about faith? I mean, did they ever talk about faith in God and all that?
My daddy never did talk about faith in God, but he would mention God quite often. But when he planted his crops, he said, I'm looking for God to bless it, to give me a good crop this year.
And they had faith that way. And my daddy would walk across them fields when that cotton began to come up and bloom and whatever, and he said, I'm going to get a good crop this year. That's the only faith that I know that he, talked about.
My brother, my oldest brother, he was not a good example to me. Now my brother Jerome, he was a good example. He would tell you, about the Lord. He would tell us, my brother Gene, and I thank the Lord that I was able to sit with him through his illness, my brother Junior and my brother Gene. And I truly believe that my brother Gene, he made it because of the many nights me and Rose have sit right up in here and he would get to singing on hymns and we would have to hit the floor. Because I truly believe that he may not have went to church, but he did believe in God. Him and my brother Jerome. But my brother Junior said something to me on that same week before he died. He said that he saw me, my mom, and my dad, and it was like a gap between us. And he said, Donis, didn't you hear me call you? I said, what you talking about, brother? He said, I was hollering for you the top of my voice, and you didn't hear me. I said, well, maybe that was because I wasn't there. But he said, I don't know why you didn't hear me. Y'all was on a Cherokee. You, mama, and daddy, and his wife. But he never could get where we was. And that same week, my brother died.
Doing the meeting too. Like he told us he was going to hell, so I guess that's what it is. Because he said if he had to love everybody, he would die and go to hell back. I hope he ain't down there, dude. He's in a terrible place.
Daddy, Mama didn't go to church that much because she was handicapped there with my brother.
Mm-hmm.
But Daddy went about every Sunday. But he wasn't saved. That's why I cuss and say it. Go to church, be up and make us shave him. We shaved him and more or less bathed him. Bathed him. And he would go to church, be ready before the sun come up and go to church. But I don't think he was a deacon. He just was a bench member. But he didn't show me a lot of Christian life living. I didn't see that in him. I saw more of that in Mama. Mm-hmm. But Mama would get mad and she would say some bad words too. But I think that Daddy just didn't have what he needed. And that was the Holy Spirit. Mama didn't either.
So were any of them saved? Was your mom and daddy saved?
On the end of their lives, I believe that my mom was saved. And my daddy changed a whole lot. I could see a whole lot of change in his life, in his latter days. But now I can't say he was saved.
It's a hard reality to swallow when considering the fate of a loved one, regarding the life lived here on earth and the final destination of the soul. It's a reality we all must face one day. So, ask yourself, am I prepared? Without fear, just know there's a blessed assurance for every man and woman to receive. This eliminates the speculation.
And that's why all I can say is only God knows who's saved and who's not. I can't predict that.
One thing that we did have was love. We had love for one another. Mama didn't care what Daddy would say or do. Now, Daddy first wouldn't say, no, he wasn't. He would do all kind of profanity, but Mama would always tell her, baby, that's your daddy. So I used to thought Daddy hated us. And I really didn't even know that Daddy knew our real name. Until the day before he died. He called every one of us by our real name.
Daddy wasn't no bad person. He lent money out to people and never got it back. You know, but I remember he lent money to a man that lived on the highway up there called Uncle Leon. And Daddy said he never paid it. Me and my sister poor, we worried him to death. Cause we would go there every week. We would go there. And if we wouldn't go, we would go up to the house and knock and then run back down the hill. Uncle Leon! Daddy said, send him his money. And we wanted to go to town. Paul said, you going this time. And so I go. She said, go on up there to the door and knock. So I go, who is this? The snatcher. Who is it? He was old. I said, older girl, what y'all want? I said, Daddy say, send him his money. I done told Audrey, when I get it, I'm gonna pay him. And y'all stop worrying me. I come back, I said, Paul, I said, he said he ain't got it. I said, we ain't gonna be able to flag that bus down and go to town. She said, oh yeah, we gonna get some money. Paul was a fool. That girl been something all her life. You hear me? I bet she worried him to death till he give her, I think it was $10 or $20. But that wasn't yet about all what he owed to Daddy. My mother had the sweetest character anybody would want to meet. She was a loving person. She loved people. She would take people in. She was a great cook.
What you mean take people in?
She raised 2 or 3 of her grandchildren.
Okay, all right, but other than that,
People's come by. She lived by a railroad. And you know, drifters would be walking down the railroad. We call them hobos. And they would stop. And she would feed them and give them water and let them sit on the porch and rest. And then they would get on their way.
Y'all know any of them by name?
No, don't know none of the people by name.
So anybody, she would just go in there?
She would just feed them. Daddy was like that too.
I saw my mom cry whenever we would get sick. I remember her crying. And when we would get sick, especially at night, we didn't have telephones or cars. So whenever we would get sick, she would have to walk to my oldest brother's house, which was at least 2 miles away, to get him to come either take us to the doctor, or they would do homemade remedies. They didn't have a lot of money to take us to the doctor. If we stepped on a nail or something, they put fat meat or something on our foot, or if we got a cold, they made pine top tea, and all of those homemade remedies with the prayer just got us better.
I see my mama cry a lot of times. I see my daddy cry only one time.
You know why you cry?
That he was working with some wood on a wood truck, and he was cutting wood, and he cut his knee. He cut his knee, and he had to lay up a good while, and he would lay in the bed and cry, cause he couldn't get up and do like he, once that's done. He had to stay in that bed till that knee got better. My daddy was a man that didn't cry.
Regardless of anything.
No, he didn't cry. I went from Baton Rouge, and I would call Mom and Dad up many times, and I would say, what would y'all like to eat Sunday? And my mama would say, well, baby, whatever you fix for Mama, I'll be satisfied. So I would fix food for them, cook it here. And I learned your mama and my mama and me. No, me and your mama. I would go get her. I had a little Falcon, what they call, a little bitty car. And I would go get her on Sunday evening. And we would go, she would get in there with me. I couldn't drive that good. We would go downtown where wasn't a lot of traffic. And she'd be sitting on the other side. And my sister Koo said, "Are you crazy? You a fool? You gonna go riding with Sarah?" And Mom said, "Yeah, I will go." So she could get in there, and I done learned myself how to drive. But Mother trusted me enough, she went with me, so I wouldn't have to go by myself. So then, my daddy, I would take them food and feed them and sit there and talk with them. And I said, "Daddy," I got a question for you. I want to ask you something. I said, "Do you know what love is? Do you ever have thought about what love is really?" And he said, "No, not really." I said, "I didn't think that you really loved us, when I was growing up. But love, it ain't the big things you do, it's the little things you do." And I said, "Daddy, you fed us. Although you was mean," I said, "but you didn't know how to love. Because you didn't see that as a child growing up." And I said, "Your dad didn't teach you how a man's supposed to love his family. And because he didn't show his wife love. And you came up doing the same thing. You did not show my mama love." And I said, and I would ask her, "Why would you stay here? Why would you stay in this abusive relationship?" She said, "Because of y'all. So I don't want y'all to be on somebody else."
My mom, through her sickness, I never have been around a person that would be as arm as she was. And I knew she was hurting because I could feel the hurt. A lot of times me and her would sit up all night long. She couldn't sleep. And she would tell me, "Baby, go in there and try to get a little rest. Mama's okay." But I quit my job and I came home and I took care of my mom until my sister Dorothy and them, that day that she got worse sick, and they came up and got her and took her to Baton Rouge to the doctor. And that night when Mama died, I heard her voice. And I called my dad. I told Dad, I said, "Daddy, I heard Mama call me." And the phone rang. It was my brother Jerome. And I asked him, I said, "What's the matter?" He said, "Mama just died." I said, "I know that because I heard her voice." But Mama was the type of woman that I would love my grandkids, the girls, if they could only be half, is what my mother was. My mama went through some things, she took some things, and she would tell me all the time, she said, "Baby," said, "I promised God that I was going to stay with your daddy until death." And she did that. And I mean, I know sometimes that things weren't like she wanted it to be, but she stayed there until death. And when I quit my job, her little money that she would get every month, what was left out, she would share it with me because she said that I needed certain things for myself. And I thank God for my parents. I thank God for my daddy. I thank God for my mom. But my mother was a mother that many people would love to be example of.
Oh my God, oh my God. Nobody, I can't describe nobody like her. Mama loved, but she was full of love and didn't care, like I said, she didn't care what go or come. Didn't care how Daddy would fuss and go on. She would always tell her, "Respect him, and that's your daddy." And I used to would tell her, if Mama ain't no way in the world I would stay with her. I'd have left him before I'd have had 2 babies by him. Mama stayed 11 children. And believe me, that old man, he didn't act like it, but he loved it, Mama. And Mama loved it. 69 years with one person, they got to be loved. For me, I've been married 3 times, so I couldn't handle it. But I thank God for my family. I thank God for Mama. She was a wonderful, wonderful woman. She loved the Lord. Mama loved her family. She loved her children.
It was a different generation back then. Some of the behaviors you may love. Some you may hate. But the journey built the family. It is important to take the good and the bad we've heard and continue the foundation of family. Make it better. Communicate truth. And be a positive example in the world. It would gleam a brighter light on the legacy of this family. But first, let it start within the family. Get to know your family. This can be easily achieved by asking family a few facts about themselves. What's your favorite color?
Blue.
What's your favorite meal?
Fried chicken, field peas, fried okra, and put a little cornbread in there, and some Kool-Aid on the side.
What's your favorite TV show?
Keeping up with the Kardashians.
I got you. What's your favorite song?
Jesus, keep me near the cross.
What's your favorite scripture?
Romans the 8th chapter, and where it says, for all things work together for good for them that love God, for them that are called according to His purpose. Whom He called, He qualified. Whom He foreknow, He predestinate. So that scripture just go on and say, if God be for you, who can be against you?
Any regrets in life?
None.
Yes.
No regrets.
Yes, I messed up on it.
No. I have one regret.
Yes.
Now tell me, what's the best year of your life?
The year I married Matthew Davidson.
My daughter took me to Orange Beach, Alabama.
When I had my first baby.
Was when Keisha was born.
The best year of my life? Oh my God, the best year of my life is right now. I'm living my best years. Because I'm retired, I'm not working, I'm taking care of my husband. So I would say these are the best years of my life.
The words of the 5 siblings are a reminder that you should live life on purpose, far from excuses. No, don't look at this part as the end, but as the passing of the baton to continue the family's journey.
Well, I dearly love my home, but it never looks so good to me. A blue skies and dragonflies, a muddy creek, Lord set me free. Good things are going on there in Mississippi. Good things are going on there in Mississippi. She made me feel good there in Mississippi. barbecue grills, firing on the 4th of July. Good things are going on there in Mississippi. Good things are going on there in Mississippi. It's made me feel good there in Mississippi. All right. Good things are going on there in Mississippi. Good things are going on there in Mississippi. Everybody moving, everybody grooving, everybody letting it all get loose there in Mississippi. Everybody moving, everybody